Okay, I'm here. It is 9, just turned 9:16. You booger. Yep. I promised I'd be on here at 9:15. It was 9:15:59. So I've been. Here we go. My fucking weirdo says in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Bingo. 9:16. Yep. Okay. So there's little technical things trying to get it up to speed here. So the good news is we early voted yesterday. Daniel took me to the early voting location, which is the big public library, or new public library in the downtown Boca Raton, just across the street to the, I guess, the east of the police station. The 400 block, I believe. And it was an interesting process. I was a clerk. I was the head guy at precinct 8882 in Boynton Beach earlier this year for the primary elections. I'm not contributing to the election cycle, the presidential election cycle right now, which is fine. It's a tough task. You go through training and everything, but anyway, the interesting thing about what I'm about to tell you is that so you go in, you check in with your photo ID. In this case, it's the Florida driver's license. It's a government-issued picture, with your date of birth and all this stuff. And then they hand you a long skinny piece of paper. I was trying to, go online and, download some images so you could see, because it's interesting. So they give you a big strip of paper with the Palm Beach County precinct information on the top, the very top edge of this skinny paper, almost like a receipt that you would get, if you just finished, with breakfast. But it's, I would say it's 4.5 inches wide and, about this long, about, like 15 inches long. So then you go over to an electronic box and it says insert here. So you take the paper. They don't really give you a lot of instructions. I guess it's supposed to be intuitively obvious how to do it. It was, so. So anyway, you feed the paper in, and it sucks the paper all the way in. And I guess it reads your information, the county information and that kind of thing. So. And then pops up over here on the screen, which is a screen, like an 11-inch iPad screen, but turned horizontally, portrait mode, I guess you'd call it. And it comes up with the ballot. So you press the button and it turns green, for your presidential selection. And then the next, you've got a bunch of judges you want to read, and you've got the state senate choice. So you pick your state senator, and then you pick some Congress people, and then you get on the judges, and then you have the amendments. And amendments Amendment 3 is a big one, for Florida because for 21 years and older, it would be legal for you to ingest marijuana. And I'm a proponent of that, since it's commonplace. The marijuana is everywhere, and the state of Florida has already approved. They have these dispensaries. So you go to a doctor, and he says, "Okay, you can have it." So then he writes a prescription, and then you can. And you're registered in the state of Florida, you pay $75 fee, and then you can go into a dispensary and buy whatever kind of, marijuana-based products, that you want. So it's almost like a drugstore. You're licensed. No, I do not. I had a car. I did it one time for the heck of it. When Brennan got his first card, I went with him. We used the same doctor. You pay him $85, So by the time it costs you $250 a year for this dispensary card. And most of it is doctor fee and so forth. And the state gets $75. And then you can buy and use these marijuana products, vapors, dropettes, so you take some drop and you put it in your iced tea. It spikes your iced tea, and in about 30 minutes you start feeling whoopsie, whatever. I haven't done it yet. Marilyn's done it. She said it's pretty good. So I don't know what that's like. I just have vodka and soda. One of those is enough for me. I make the second one, but I never drink it. I wake up. I want to wake up the next morning, go back out to the living room area where the TV is. I see my whole my cocktails, because I drink it in like a thermos mug, fill it up with ice. Put a shot of vodka in there, fill it up the rest of the way with soda. So I have one of those, and that's about it. Anyway, so Amendment 3. We'll be looking for Amendment 3. Whoops. That'll be one of the my stop clock. There it is. There we go. I had a text message that came through, and it took over my phone. You can see it counting. 8 minutes. I guess my microphone is in the way of the clock. Too bad. Microphone rules. Anyway, so I actually don't need glasses. I can see everything just fine here. When I get close, I can't see, but I can see if I'm about 18 inches away. Perfect. Yeah. Anyway, so Amendment 3, we're going to look for that. When the tallies start coming through on November 5th. So we early voted yesterday. And anyway, so you push your buttons, on this electronic screen. That's the size of an iPad. This iPad right here. Not exactly. I don't know. It looks like about 10-inch diagonal screen. And you pick, everything that you pick, including all the amendments. Amendment 4 is it gives all kinds of latitude for more abortion stuff. Almost to the time of birth, which I'm not in favor of that. If you want to have an abortion, if you can't figure it out in the first 4 months, you know in the first 3 days if you're pregnant or not. If you got any observation about your own body. I could tell with Marilyn, like in the first week, things about her body was changing. the nipples get darker, right away, within a week, your nipples are darker, for a woman, when they're pregnant. You don't need a pregnancy test. There's probably other things that a woman can sense, other than her period stops. You don't have to, things about your body in the first week. Or you're just totally oblivious to what the hell's going on. So so let's just say after this is a very controversial thing. I'm getting into deep water here, but so in the first week, you're pregnant. And if, you're married, then you just, I guess you just decide, so, within a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, within the first 2 months, 3 months, 12 weeks, that's what a lot of states are deciding. How many weeks are they going to give you? And then you can decide if you're going to have an abortion or not. I would say the average is like 13 weeks, 14 weeks. So it's, the little beast growing inside of you is maybe, smaller than this. Silver dollar. The first 10 weeks. So when you have an abortion, no, it's smaller than that. It's like a, I guess it's like a chemically induced. You take some kind of pill, or I should have Marilyn here for this conversation, but anyway, you can abort in the first 10 weeks, 8 weeks, and it's like a bad period, and then that's the end of that. You don't wait until you got this big belly and you got this thing growing inside of you that's got arms and legs and eyebrows, and that's that's ridiculous. And you say, I guess I should have really. You figure it out in the first 10 weeks, and then you meet with your gynecologist and do whatever you do to have an abortion. In our life cycle, we didn't do any abortions. She got pregnant twice, and we had 2 kids. It's as simple as that. No twins. Just had 2 kids, and that's it. So, abortion should not be birth control. If you don't want to have a kid, you use some kind of prophylactic. Either chemical or physical. Abortion should not be, a birth control method. No. Once that little sucker starts growing inside of you, that's a life. And women have had early premature births. I'm trying to think of the right vocabulary words here. If you have a premature birth, they've been premature births where the kid is like 1 pound. The size of a little tiny cat. 1 pound, and they incubate it. So that it grows externally, postnatal instead of prenatal, and bring it right up to life. Right up to birthing age, and then they remove tubes and let the eyes open up, and whatever they do from the incubator to to this little booger to start looking around and saying, "Ooh, there's my mommy." Yeah. So, the collision between, the people that want to have abortions and the Catholic Church and all that business is, complicated by the fact that science is now, in the year 2024, adding a factor, because these little boogers can live on externally, even if they're really small, and they know what to do to bring those kids to maturity. That's the right word. And live a happy life. So that's Amendment 3. So I think the Amendment 3 was reaching a little too far, it seemed to me, in reading and hearing comments that Maryland has made, and Maryland is interfaced with other women and women's clubs and book clubs and so forth. And I asked her to raise the topic to see what other people feel about it. And it seemed like that Amendment 4 went a little too far as the freedom of society to be, killing these little babies. That's what it is. There's other vocabulary words you could use, but kids are being, kids that are viable and could be born are being, euthanized, or whatever you want to call it. All right, let's get on to tough topic. Sorry. We're done with that. Okay, let's move on to. So anyway, it's October 25. It's Friday. It's 9:33. Sorry for that 3 minutes, but it's something that we had to vote on, and that was the one sticky topic. Where is? There it is. There, look at him. Back to the Future. This is the cover this morning for the New York Post. And it's a clear choice to put the nation on the right path. Now, this is not a Republican, it's not a Republican leaning newspaper, no, it is not. And they're backing Trump. Back to the future. Choice is clear. And we can do a little expando thing here. Reverse pinch. Editorial on page 30. Okay, so after 4 years, it's obvious that the Biden-Harris administration has been a mistake for America. Bringing Trump back to finish the job he started means a better shot at prosperity and common sense. The Post endorses Trump for president. And then you go to page 30 and you can do and read more. I just have the cover. I've logged in and given registration information and whatever. So they give me the ability to just pick up their covers, front and back. The back was a Yankee, Yankees kind of conversation. You see the Yankee logo there. There we go. Reverse pinch. Come down here. Go Yanks. You see the logo there. Page 28, World Series preview inside. Yeah. So, it's like 15 years or so before. Yeah. The Yankees were in a World Series. L.A. and New York, is that it? I see an L.A. thing over there. I guess that's... Wow. Both New York teams, of course, one of them moved to L.A., the Dodgers. So I'm seeing up here in the network, Harris and Trump deadlock 48% each. So if that's the case, which if history serves me properly, look at that. There he is. He got shot. I mean, this poor guy's gone through so much. Woo! Polls show that Trump and Harris locked in a dead heat. Well, let me tell you, that would be good. That's good news for Trump, because on the last election cycle, Biden was up like 5%, and it came down to 40,000 votes over 4 states. You know, all these swing states, they call them, right? So if they're 48-48, and Trump under polls, which means the polls always, don't seem to give him enough credit for where he really is when people actually vote. Just because we got to close the back door. And Harris, she's just not going to. She's going to say, "Well, I'm going to go." She could take the next 4 years and try to get it through Congress. They're not going to get it through Congress. The Congress is more evenly divided than the presidential election, and they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. I don't know why it's not going to happen. It's just not. So, that's. So she's never going to close the back door. So you'll end up with another 10 million people coming. And right now, there is huge caravans of people marching up through, Mexico to get through the border. And they're getting through Texas. I can guarantee you that. They're going to come through, Arizona and California. They're all marching. Big, huge caravans. 10,000 person caravans. Multiple ones. And the cartels, they're in the smuggling of human being business. That's what they're doing. They make, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a person. And then they work here in the United States. And they send back money to their parents. And they have to send back money, to their pimps, whatever they call them. And they have to pay off, this $8,000 or $10,000 fee they're charging these people to escort them through the entire country of Mexico. And then they end up in, either jumping the border or, coming through and, signing up to get your court date, which they, they throw that out. That goes in the circular file. They're not, they just crumple the paper, whoosh, throw it in the trash can. They get a free cell phone. Can you imagine? Free cell phone service. And, and they get a EBT card, probably, which they fill up with about $1,000 a month. They give them $1,000. We're paying. I'm giving them my little piece of $1,000 a month. Every single one of these people. Some are nice and some are not so nice. But we can't afford it. We don't. Where the hell is this money coming from? It's just adding to the national debt. Trump gets in there, he's closing the border. That border will be closed. Anyway, sorry for that. Well, the Harris border ain't closing. Stanford throws 4 touchdowns and beats somebody. I haven't been watching. Anyway, so how about that for a cover? Wow. That's telling. So I sold equipment and bought a replacement computer and got this new Apple Watch instead of the big, what do you call it, the Ultra 2. So I sold that to Mac Me an Offer, MACME an Offer. It's a website that opens up, and then you can buy stuff or you can sell stuff to them. So I've been selling stuff to them, and I sold a computer, and they funded me $1,257 for a machine that was about 2 years old, M2 chip, MacBook Air. No, it's a MacBook Pro, 14-inch screen. And I replaced it with a 15.5-inch MacBook Air. No fans. So like a sealed system. It's just like the one I got right here that manages all the inflows and outflows of information. This is a Simulcast, right? eCam Live. ECAMM live.com. You can get that software, download it into your computer, your Mac style computer, and do your own podcast if you want to. This video, I got video, you're looking, the camera's looking kind of sideways here. It should be tilted down just a little bit. There we go. So you can see the work surface. And, I don't have the lights on bright because I turned the lights down. I had the doors shut. Nice, comfortable little setting here. When I'm not on the air, which is, of course, I broadcast for about an hour and a half a day, every day, starting at 9:15 every morning. I'm busting my, to get on the air at 9:15 every morning. And then, I should be done by around 11. You can listen to me live on Facebook. FAU for you. You can search. I've got hundreds of broadcasts. I just got a message. Now you're gonna have all kinds of election rigging and all. It's gonna be a mess. Hopefully, it's not a mess. Hopefully, this may be hopeful thinking to the point of ridiculous, but it would be nice if it was a very decisive win by one or the other. So too big to rig. That's the Trump, thing that he preaches on his rallies. Let's make it too big to rig. So if there's such a huge outflow of voting, now about 60% of the population votes. Now there's a certain percentage of the population that's too young to vote, obviously. You got to be 18 years or older, I believe, to vote. I think that's it. 18 years. When you're 18 years old, that would be, this would be if you're 18 this year, then you can go vote. You can vote. Be your first election. This is a notorious one. This is an important one. Because we got to shut the back door. And I don't think Kamala is going to shut the back door. So even though you may not like Trump, tough crap. Put him in there anyway. He's not Hitler. He's already been president once. The economy was a whole lot better when he was president than what's going on now. I go to the grocery store and let's say buy butter, a 1 pound box of butter, which is not necessarily a lost leader in at the Publix grocery store. $8.60 for a pound of butter. Really? It used to be $3.50. Now it's $8.60. That's $5 more because of inflation. Okay. Gallon of milk is way up. A quart. 1 quart of half and half. $4. Used to be $2. Now it's $4. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 100% increase. Inflation and 20%, it's 100%. Maybe they do some kind of calculation and they add this and they deal with the cost of energy and all this. Energy is not up 100%. I think it costs 14 cents a kilowatt now. 14 cents for a kilowatt. 1,000 watts. Yeah. 1 kilowatt. What? Yeah, kilowatt is 14 cents. My electric bill is about $250, including all kinds of taxes and stuff. $240, $250, something like that. Used to be $180, $190. Now it's $250. It's not because we turned the air conditioner way down, although it is 68.2 degrees in here. Yeah, this is like a real studio. It's really cold. So I have like a couple layers of stuff on here, so I'm not freezing to death. My daughter was, nice enough to send me some of these yard clothing. It's real, very nice. Thank you very much. I've got the pants, I got the shirts. She sent me all kinds of colors and very nice. I gave her my sizes, and all of a sudden I get this huge box of stuff. She works there several days a week and qualifies for employee discount. And they get so if something's on sale, and then she, pays the employee discount, discounting that even further, she gets the stuff, dirt cheap. Not exactly dirt, but anyway. It is a little chilly in here. 68.2. Now the house, the whole rest of this apartment, it's not a house. The rest of the apartment is 1,525 square feet, 1,550 square feet. 1,550 square feet. This little den we have here is where I have my little studio on my table here. That's 24 inches wide and 5 feet long. I took a piece of tape and put it across. I get 24 inches and Marilyn gets the other 24 inches on this 5 or 6 foot table, 5.5 foot table. I can touch the ends of both tables. At the ends of this table. And I got my soundboard here. I got my computer here. I've got my devices so I can display things. I got iPhone here. There's the time and date. Friday morning, 9:49 a.m., October 25, 2024. I've got that device here, and I have it in my bathroom. So in case you don't know what day of the week it is, I have no dementia yet, but I'm crowding 80, so eventually, shit stops working, I guess. Pardon the expression. Anyway, everything's working so far. I'm ambulatory. I can move around. I can walk around. I can drive a car. I'm looking forward to full self-driving. Tesla is giving away, thank you very much, another, with the downloading of this new software, they're now going to allow you to try out the full self-driving. So this weekend I'm going to try it out. And because I did download, 12 point whatever, and then apparently, and Tesla is opened up the floodgates for, the software package, so that you can drive the full self-driving thingy, which is it works quite nice. I watched a video of someone else who's already done it. Some of these podcasters, take this stuff apart, but the software, it's all software. It's all about the software. When SpaceX, that big booster came back and the gantry caught it, with the calipers. That's 500,000 pounds. That's how heavy that booster is when it's empty, no fuel. They fill it up with 10 million gallons of, propellant and liquid oxygen. So when it comes back to Earth, after it did its booster job, which pushed, the top of the rocket, up to supersonic speeds and pre-orbital, then it's got its own 3 more engines in the second stage that burn for 40, 50 minutes, puts it in, high Earth orbit. And then, so then the booster turns around and does a flip back burn, and it landed back where it took off. That's all software that controls that. There's no one living in the booster pushing the buttons. And people on the, in the ground, they're giving the software permission to proceed to a certain next step. So the people that in the control room, so to speak, have the ability to abort the mission, so that instead of landing in the calipers that we witnessed last week or so, if it was coming in too fast or it wasn't following the right flight plan, they can, push a button and explode it. There's munitions in there strapped around the externals of the booster. So if it was triggered by the control room, the whole thing blows up and then burns up in the atmosphere as it returns to Earth. That would be, an adverse action that would be taken by the control room, because for some reason or other, either the engines, failed to perform the way they're supposed to, turn off or turn on, at the right precise time, or if there's some other issue that they notice with sensors and so forth, they can abort the mission, hit the button and bam, blows up, and you see this big, whatever in the deep sky. But anyway, so the mission proceeded, and you've got this booster that is 230 feet tall, 235 feet tall, something like that. You can look up the number, but it's 230 feet. That's, divide that by 11, that's I'm going to do it right here on my old trusty little calculator that's built into my iPads. So 235 divided by, it's about 11 feet per story. That's a 21-story office building. It's a 21-story building that's 30 feet in diameter, that weighs 500,000 pounds. 500,000 pounds. That's a lot of steel and stainless steel and tanks and the rocket engines on the bottom end of it, 30 33 engines, I think. 34 engines. Kind of like forget the count is. There's 3 engines wrapped by 10. That's 13, and then the next ring is it's about 30 something engines. 30. Let's just say 34. I'll pick that number. Well, next time I go on SpaceX.com, we'll know exactly how many. But it landed. It came right back to Earth. It landed right where it was supposed to land. We haven't, then they do a post, after everything cools down and so forth, they have a procedure and they follow it, and, they're going to go inspect this first stage to see if they can reuse it, on number 6. Will they use 5 and put that up again? Because the whole idea of it is to have it reused. If you fly in an airplane to Chicago, they don't ditch the airplane and give everybody a new one when it takes off the next time. No, you keep flying the same airplane back and forth all over the, whatever their chosen paths are. But they run those airplanes for, 30 years or so. Yeah, I don't know, or so. I don't know how actually when they retire the planes. I guess it depends on its service record, but they take good care of them. They inspect everything and make sure all the rivets are riveted. Sometimes they have to replace rivets because they're pressurized planes, so there's a lot of pressure. When they pressurize them, they're not kidding, because when you get up to 35,000 feet, which is pretty much the highest, above ground clearance that a commercial pilot would get, is, somewhere maybe 40,000 feet, high. So 5 times 8, so that's like 8 or 10 miles up. Yeah. So if the plane is going at that altitude, they have to pressurize the cabin so that you don't, completely destroy all the passengers, because you can't survive inside of an airplane that's not pressurized at 35,000 feet. Number one, you'd freeze to death. You'd be a brick of ice. So they have to warm the air that comes in those ducts. So they have to warm the cabin, because the external temperature at 35,000 feet, it's like what, minus 50 degrees? You can't live at minus 50 degrees, right? So they have to warm the air in the airplane. So when they say turn on the air conditioners, they really mean turn on the heat. So if they want it cooler, they heat it less. All right? Because the outside temperature is, really cold. So they bring in the external air, and they heat it, put it in the cabin. So, but you think it's an air conditioner because, that's what you think about when you're on the ground. But when you're in a commercial airplane, which is, like a spacecraft, it's got a door, it's got seals, they pressurize the cabin, you got pilots up there, they're wearing masks and getting fed oxygen when they're flying. They don't have to have that kind of equipment on, and they don't, unless there's an emergency of some kind. But that way, if the air systems aren't working right for the whole airplane, they have their own sealed system in the cockpit to manage their temperature, and hopefully the passengers have, adequate control of their temperature too. But if there's, something that was going on, let's see. The Model Y is they're venting it right now. It's 101 degrees inside. I have temperature control going on there. Okay. I need to log. What's going on here? What do you want me to do? Is notifications on? It is. My software package here is telling me to do something I've already done. Okay. Yes. There we go. This is the car. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm using the wrong device. Ooh, Tesla. There's Tesla. So, Sentry mode is enabled, so if anyone starts to mess around with the car, we can see it. There's release notes for a software 24.32.10. Let me tell you what that means. See, V12. I can't reverse pinch this. It's not an image. It's actually an application. It's actually connected to my car, or our car. It's parked. You can see that. I guess we should. Guess I got to go full screen on this. Boys, how about full screen on this? Yeah. Remember, it's me, myself, and I. There are three of us working this Simulcast. It's going over YouTube Live. @ FAU for you. Capital letters FAU. The number 4 followed by U. FAU for you. That's my call handle for Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Twitter Live is a different one. It's JIMW5596 with a capital J and a capital W. The IM are not capital. National, look at that, National 4848. That's really good news because she should be 5% up. You know, because of the way they public sample. Now, if that was a 4848 according to Rasmussen, that's a tighter poll. He'd probably be ahead by a couple of points. If this New York Times poll showing 4848, and Trump always does a little bit better than what the polls give him. Anyway, so release note, you see that in the middle of the screen? V12, version 12. Version 11, you know, the big changes between version 11 and version 12. These software updates come for us in batches. You know, I'll get a notice on here to download a package in a couple of days because there's a new version that just came out. Anyway, we're on version 24.32.10. So we know what 2024 means because we're living in 2024. So this release note has a date and it has like a serial number, and it's 2024.32. Now what's 32? 32 is the number of weeks that software is up to. And the last number, 10, is that the software that eventually got transmitted to us has been upgraded a few times. So if you write down that number, you can come back to it and try to force the rest of the download in case there's something wrong with the front network. And that could be, you know, it's a young network, like our AT&T network is. I don't think it's connected to AT&T. So that's, you know, that's how you read that nomenclature. So it's the 32nd week, which is, you know, not exactly October, but it's, you can, get the drift on what the 32nd week would look like out of 48 weeks. Assuming that they divided up the calendar by 12 and then, so, and 32, and then 10 is the iteration of this download version. So that's how they come up with the software that they used for this big staircase they put out there, made out of oak and hand polished and all this stuff. And then I don't have that. I'm black. All my equipment is black, and if I ding it or something, I got a spray can and just spray it black. I take very good care of this equipment. At least I used to think I did. I should be. My rear end is falling out. So she's all, yep, I get these text messages all the time. All right. So it's the 10th iteration of the software that was developed in the 32nd week. If you're at the end of the, it'd be like 48 weeks, 50 weeks. Anyway, that's how you read that nomenclature. And then you can press this little arrow right here, and it tells you all about software version 24.32.10. So, the Tesla cars are, it's a beautiful machine that's got, powerful electric motors in the front and the rear, and, a battery that holds, between 25 kilowatts, 25, yeah. So, let's see, 75,000 watt battery. Yeah, that's it. So it runs about 200 and just about 300 miles worth of range in the battery. So it's telling us here, actual smart Simmons, ASS. Okay, buckle up for the ride of your life. Except, surprise, you're not in the car. ASS, actually smart summons, allows your vehicle to come to you. So if it's raining like hell, you could use the app to bring the car right to you, wherever you happen to be. Outside in the driveway somewhere near where you parked. So apparently the phone can communicate with, to bend the little doodad down or the cable so that you can, it'll go far enough. So we're assuming we're not plugged in. We're parked. And it's raining like hell. So you could actually, with your remote, summon the car with your own activity with your fingers. And it'll come to you under the overhang of the building that you're in. So you can, get in there and drive on, Leon, So that summon would be the first time that the current summon routine is available for people to use for the first time. Come to me. So, there's certain things that there's at least two versions of the software that you get downloaded. And it comes version 12, and see, there's version 12.5.4.1. I don't follow that one. 2024 12:00. So I'm reading off the screen here. 24:32 4:10. Every time there's a dot, the software is being controlled by something else. There you go. And it tells you what happens during the software update. Yes, sir, Bob. I was just looking at these diagrams. Full self-driving, supervised, homogenized, sterilized. Yep. So, I don't remember doing these steps for this phone, but anyway, I'm just sending. I have a box. As soon as I get done here, I'm taking a box downstairs. Leave with Mr. Steven, so that make sure they scan that box and take it with them. It'll end up spending time in a warehouse somewhere. So by the time they pick up my box, it'll be 11 o'clock. That's my guess. Either that or I'll have to take it to the place tomorrow morning. If I can't sign up for my own car, I could take the car to drop off this package. But if I can get Steve to give it to the UPS guy and he scans it in, it'll save me a trip, because he's UPS guy's. I'm staring at him. He's got a hand truck. Picks up all these boxes. So anyway, I sold 2 phones to Mac me an offer. Amazing. My Series 9 Ultra 2. They're giving me $400 for that. And then I have a Series 8, and they're giving me $165 for that. So that's $565. Let's just make it $575. And the new version 10 was $75. Right? So, I'm sorry, $750. So if they're giving me $575 and it's $775, it's costing me $200 essentially to upgrade to the new. And it's thinner. Fits more comfortably on my little wrist. I don't have a big wrist. I can see it's Friday, October 25. I can see that it's 10:15 a.m. It doesn't count seconds. I think I can change that. I'll change it maybe later. There we go. So that's a big box sitting there. I put both phones in one box instead of sending them separate. That way, they open up box, they get both of them in there. They only have to pay one UPS charge. Save them a little money. They give you prepaid labels, so yeah, it's all sealed up in there. Yeah, they're not going to be. They can throw that box around. They're not going to hurt the contents. Let's go to Real Clear Politics and see if there's any new data there. So every day, every hour, they upload this with new polls that come in. This is the Friday, October 25th. Yep. Here's the polls. The national poll, see, New York Times, is a tie, 48-48. The New Hampshire, Harris is up 3. I think I think we know that. New Hampshire, there's, I guess, the governor is up for re-election. She's up 3. Presidential election job approval, that's 40-57. And the generic congressional, that's 48-48. That's always been Democratic. Now it's tied. It's got to be this wearable, the monthly lease arrangement with the equipment that I have here, and the for the New York Times Sierra to be tied, and that's left leaning. So I would say that's it should be 56, not tie. So the Democrats, from a history standpoint, they're usually 6 points up if everything's tied up, and they're not. When they show tie, there it is. Democrats 0.1. 48-48, 48-49. Add all that up. And then if they could have another column, another couple of columns. We can add columns and data. We just have to tell them about it. We're going back. Anyway, so we can look at it. Oops. Crap. I don't think it's going to let me do that. All right, let's see what happens with that. Email is empty. Oh, really? Oh, I guess I need to put it in. Oh, crap. Well, F. A. I don't know why I'm doing this. Anyway, I'll do that on this computer. So this is all set for that software, which just became available. Yeah. All right, we'll go here. Back to the Future. This is today's cover of the New York Post. We started out with that. Harris turns the Democratic Party's biggest stars. So they have all the stars. They're all donating to the Democratic cause. Democratic Party is pulled away from a lot of people. Kamala is on the left side. Line people up. She'd be lined in the middle, but moving, but the rest of her body is going back between everyone's legs about 20 or 30 feet, where it tries to get muscle between the stealth. Yeah. They don't want it in there. Now the other one you'd have to take out through the an open connector thing, and I should be down there so that when that transition happens, someone's in there to guide the ship, so to speak. Anyway, so she's got her closing arguments, and she's leaning on party officials to do it because the officiating of the officiating technique used is complicated, as you can imagine, because otherwise they say just increases and zap it. So I'm going to zap it. I can't. I'll do it later. It's too complicated. Got all this stuff in the way. All right. There we go. How the 2024 election will reshape the Supreme Court. Well, what little reading I've done about it, I've done some. I always carry the Constitution in my back pocket. So, from the New York Times Magazine, the writer of this article, a few months ago, Thomas will, in a few months, begin serving as president, and his you can leave the the behind the scenes Yep, I can say some beeps. Anyway, I was reading earlier that the Supreme Court, if the Democrats prevail, then they're going to add, they got 3 justices that are leaning left, and you got 3 that are leaning right. And we played either side of the ticket. Like they should. Yeah. All right, there's the... Anyway, they're going to add members to the Supreme Court so that you don't have these 6-3. It's 9 people. It's always been, 9. So they're saying, well, we need to make sure there's enough, follow through with the Yep. So that way when we land, we've got... I don't mind going. You just have to, roll with the flow, as they say. Which I can do that too. Let's get this thing. Yeah, there we go. It's amazing you can move these things around a lot. There we go. Microphone is a very important component of a podcast, obviously, because that's how everyone hears you. Yeah, so use these graphics that I prune out of the media. I read all these articles. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and a major contractor to the U.S. government. They built 90% of it, and we is the most technology you can reasonably buy. Not the one with all logs in it. It all came another day. So you know you're happy with that, yeah. Anyway, this box I'm about to deliver is like 3 or 4 pounds, but it's a big box. I packed it well, and they got labels on the components. So if the box got totally destroyed, there's enough horsepower in with the labels I put on there to send it to where it's going. I just thought I'd save them some money and put both in one box and print the external label again and attach it to the box, which is permanently attached to that box. They'll just use a razor blade and slice it. They'll push down on it and whoops, whatever is hanging out, will get banged with my hand. Anyway, this is the Rush Limbaugh microphone. Electro Voice. Has a special diaphragm in it. I think it picks up my voice just fine. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and major contractor with U.S. government, has been in regular contact with, so they're saying he's got in regular contact with Putin and the rest, and they can walk around on their own streets. Yeah. Boys get their radios soon. I charged them up. I set them to channel 1111. So you can try it out and see if it can go a couple miles through the buildings. Yeah. A lot of yakking about the Model 2. I think it's going to be like the Robotaxi, and they'll just reconfigure the inside of it. I think the Model 2, if they can deliver it for $10,000. There you go. Apple Watch Series 10, advanced display. They're going to use that display in next year's iPhones. It is a remarkable display. It's beautiful, the way they make these things. It's a sapphire crystal. It's made out of, the body here is titanium. I love the watch. Yeah. There you go, I was just showing. Yeah, here's the watch. In all its glory. Let's see if I can just hang it up. You can, went off. It's upside down anyway. Let's put the combination. There we go. Now you should see it. There we go. Not exactly in focus. Now it's probably in focus. Yeah, right about there. It's a brilliant display. I mean, you can see it in full sunlight. 2,000 nits. Nitwit. Anyway, this magnetic strip. It's a nice watch. syncs with your phone. So if your phone rings, the watch rings. It also deals with when you say, Siri, what time is it? So I can see on the watch, the day, the time, my heart rate up in the top left corner, and then the bottom third of the screen displays the car. And it tells me that there's 145 miles worth of range in the car right now, which is, it's about half a tank. You want to use the tank symbolism. There's no tank. It's a battery, bunch of batteries. Let's just say it's a 300-mile tank. And it's got 149 miles left. Yeah. There is a display of the watch. Expected technology to be in iPhone 17. Here's the Dragon capsule in all its glory. It came down with 4 astronauts. Everybody arrived safely. There it is. Picked it up in the Gulf waters. So the team surrounds that. They bring another vessel. They lift it on another vessel, and they open up the hatch and let the people out. They can explode that hatch off. They can open the hatch themselves, but then they run the risk of that thing filling up with water and sinking. And there's a lot of stuff in that capsule. There's a lot of instruments and things. So they don't want to lose that. They'll catch that. They've already caught it. You can see the band around here. Yeah. So they've already put something on there so that they can now extract that from the water. It goes all the way around. Yeah. So that's, they have nets. They got different things that they attach to that so they can pull it up out of the water onto onto a little space that's towards the rear end of the ship. They don't want to lose that puppy. They want it. So here's the latest Trafalgar poem. Look at all those. All right, well, Trump 3, up 2, Trump's up 2, Trump up 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. So if it's, if it's a 1 or a 2, it's inside the margin of error. And I went over that yesterday, so I won't do it again. But for the New York, so this is a Wall Street Journal poll, 46-48. Excuse me, 46-49. There we go. Trump's up 3. That's, that. Now this, I've put an extra. I used up one of the charges that we could have used to blast ourselves out of there. I figured we just use a can of butter. You only got a towel. Trying to separate that plastic. Anyway, you separate that plastic and log it in, and you can You can look at those tapes anywhere on the planet. So here's all the. Yep. So I've got some of these, these applications I have in several places at the same time because of the way. Let's see. So now we're going. There are no. All right. Get out of here. There we go. Tight election. Oh my lord, there's a shipping label for my phones, my devices. There's Daniel's dog. Very nice animal. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you and God bless. That's Marco Rubio. Marilyn's, there she is. I voted. She's got her sticker. She got her finger pointing at it. Yep. Okay. Good for you. I voted too. We wanted to make sure she did. We tried to do it, the three of us going together, but it got too complicated. And Daniel was ready to pick me up, and Marilyn wasn't quite ready. She said, "You guys just vote. I'll vote. I'll make sure I vote. I'll just slip out and vote." It took her a half hour. 10 minutes to the voting location, 5 minutes to do the voting, registration and everything. To verify your ID and all that. And you have to sign something. And so, 5 minutes you're running out. Make it, the whole place set up with these machines. It's interesting because so they give you this strip of paper with some coating up on the top end, and then you slip that paper in this machine. It sucks in the whole paper, and then then it comes up with the ballot, and you see the presidential thing, and you got the candidates, and then the vice president thing. Okay. And, then you have Senator Rick Scott, which we voted for him for re-election. Good senator. Everyone in the whole Senate knows he's a worker bee. And Rubio's our other Florida senator. So he probably comes up in 2 years, I think. So in 2026... he's up for re-election. Yeah, they call it the midterm. I think he's a midtermer. Yeah. So there's the dog. So I guess that's... Yeah, this guy here, he's wondering what's going to happen to himself. If Trump gets elected, he's a goner. So everybody's all, exercised about this. This voting stuff, because, if it changes administration, there's a lot of people. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that get swapped out of the, and then, Trump is in and his team comes in and they get rid of these guys. Well, this Jack Smith guy, he's a goner. Trump says he's gone within 2 seconds. He'll sign an executive order. You're fired. Get out of here. You dumb. He's not even authorized. He hasn't been authorized by Congress to be, a prosecutor. The position that he's. Congress is supposed to authorize him, and Congress hasn't authorized him. So how he can be, he's not been authorized as special counsel. So why does the Justice Department keep throwing him in there? Because you have to go before Congress. It's not, the Justice Department can't do that willy-nilly all by itself. Well, they did willy-nilly him. he was not endorsed by Congress. You got to be approved by Congress, and he has not gone before Congress to get such authorization. So he's in the catbird seat on that. That's not a good place to be, in my humble opinion. So he's gone just because. I mean, these guys have been chasing Trump. They've been trying to lock him up. They're suing him for this and suing him for that. Oh my God! If this guy wasn't a multi-billionaire, he'd be, And the government has to defend Trump against this idiot because they're prosecuting him when he was doing his official duty. This whole January 6th thing. If you read the Constitution, which I have a couple of times, when it's not as simple and cut as dry as you would think it should be. It gets a little complicated, and the vice president that basically collects all the electors from the states. This is the Electoral College. And then he carries that vote. It gets handed to him. And then he carries that package into, the congressional chamber, to be recognized. I think it's the Senate chamber. So why would that step be there? If it wouldn't be the purpose in case there was some impropriety that happened with the election results, and someone thought it did not represent the will of the people. Yeah, it comes down to that. So, why would they hand all that stuff to the vice president, where he carries it in, from one building out and then into the Senate chamber? And then they open that up, and then he certifies it, that this is the election results, and here are all the electors. And then they all stand up for who they are. Some for Trump and some for Harris. And if you can imagine it, what if there was an impropriety in an election? And they discovered that, took pictures, have evidence. They submit it to a federal judge. Federal judge examines that complaint and decides that it is going to be that it is a federal office. The only thing we're changing out is, the batteries. So when you're, if you're not feeling well, you can change up. If you're the vice president, you're carrying all the electors over, and you think there's some impropriety, and you need more time for the appeals judges to, look at the case. Now, it didn't get to that in our Lyle package, which had everything in there except this blowtorch part. And it's interesting that they didn't call for that. So now that I got familiar with it, I'm happy with it. I just made a mistake because it's actually printed on the back, but I probably didn't put that printing on the back. I'm sure I didn't. But they have that extra step where the VP carries that briefcase. He could carry it somewhere else. and prevent the official election results that weren't transmitted by virtue of the cockpit. So we'll see what goes on with that. All right. It's 1 hour, 30 minutes, 49 seconds. It is 10:46 a.m. We got through most of the news. I think the vote is firming up. Let's see. Let's go back to real clear politics. Stay syncopated. Let's pull down on this. See if there's any new results. Friday the 25th. That's today. National New York Times Siena poll tied. The New Hampshire, Harris gets it by 3. See this one. That's not it. Let's hit the button. All right, this is the polling results. That's significant. Tie. Up 3, down 3. Disapprove. Approve. So let's try to get my finger right on that one. There we go. Harris definitely is controlling this New Hampshire one. Harris up 9, Harris up 7, Harris up 3. The average is 6.3. And that's for 2,000, 3,000. So this is like a 4,000 point electoral college. And yeah. Okay. Look at this one. Trump 3, Trump 2, Trump 1, Trump 1, Trump 1, Trump 2, Trump 2, Trump 1. Tie. Trump 7. Yeah, this is... I switched out the Democratic vote. And here's the Republican vote. All right. I'm done. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice morning. Have a nice lunch. Today is Friday. Marilyn says it's a nice lunch for the... having a nice gathering with the Rotary Club every Friday. She looks forward to that. Bill, my friend Bill, wanted me to join the club just so I could go to lunch with him. That's cost you $1,200 a year to join. I figured, heck with it. You know, $1,200 a year, I can spend that somewhere else. Yep. Okay, so with that, we can have that's our Brennan and Daniel, that dog. It's actually Daniel's dog. I think he's the one that actually went to the rescue and picked her out and went back and forth with the what do you call it? The pediatrician doctors for dogs. Yeah. We'll close out the music with the dog. Gentlemen, let's do full screen with Sky. S-K-Y-E. That's the name of the dog. Yes, sir, Bob. Nice dog. Running up and down the beach. Just sitting there watching, the face, look at the ears. The one thing, these animals, they don't really like the wind. It's so windy. So she's got her nose pointed right at the wind. So that way the air kind of goes over her ears in such a way that's the least disruptive. You all have a nice day.